Hi, everyone. We are reading from Ezekiel 34:23-27. This is the New Living. And I will set over them one shepherd, my servant David. He will feed them and be a shepherd to them. And I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David will be a prince among my people. I, the Lord, have spoken. I'll make a covenant of peace with my people and drive away the dangerous animals from the land. They'll be able to camp safely in the wildest places and sleep in the woods without fear. I'll bless my people and their homes around my holy hill. And in the proper season, I will send the showers they need. There'll be showers of blessing. The trees will yield their fruit, and the ground will yield its crops. The people will be secure in their land. They will know that I am the Lord when I break the bars of their yoke and rescue them from the hands of those who enslave them. So, we talked about this earlier with one of the other passages. I think it was in Micah 5:2. So this in Ezekiel 34, they're talking about, so you start with the present day, like what's happening. Then it jumps actually to Jesus' second coming. And then it goes to his first coming. And then I don't remember if it ends on that or if it goes back somewhere else. But this is another chapter where you have within the same chapter speaking about the present, future, and then going back to Jesus's first coming. So it's kind of this, it's not linear, essentially. But later, we're going to study where Jesus actually quotes back to Ezekiel and John. So that's much later. But the main part of this, if you listen to the song, Lead on Good Shepherd, it's such a good song. Like the lyrics are amazing. It's very biblically based, but it's also just really fun song to listen to. So one of the key reasons I wanted to pick this passage is, one, there's a lot of prophecies about Jesus' first coming that a lot of people know. And so I was trying to kind of get some of the ones that maybe we don't know as well or see as often. Just, this one doesn't look as pretty laid out on a card or something.
But it almost paints a picture with the words of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the poetry in here. Like you can almost imagine this being a picturesque garden that you would want to live in. It's just like the kingdom that he's going to establish.
Right.
And then it makes you think about how is this going to come about though?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesus' coming now equips us. Like I was like, as you were reading that, I was like, oh, this is fertile ground we're going in where we are establishing his kingdom, where we go by being his love to the people.
Right.
Like it just makes you think about like how is this going to actually come about now? Like how is God going to work? And he does perform miracles and he does do things, but his preferred method of working is by empowering us, and we work through his power and he does his will.
Right.
And it was just like, and then thinking about
that was
being led by him.
Right. Well, I think that's one of the main confusions about the garden is, yes, like it was less work than what we have right now. Right. Like it was less, like that was the point. You could just walk over and be like, oh, let me grab this fruit. They just had the wrong fruit. But from the very beginning, God was inviting Adam into his work with him. And a lot of times people think that the garden was a place to like beach on like a vacation on the beach. Like you're just sitting around doing nothing. But that wasn't it. From the very beginning, God's desire was for us to work with him, for us to create with him, for us to be partners with him. So as we left the garden, that desire for God to partner with us didn't change. Right. Yes, the work became labor, like it became more difficult. That's what a lot of what is the curse, is the difficulty of it. But the things that we were doing weren't necessarily change.
Yeah.
But
I like that difference of the word you just used is like labor. That's a person like a good day's work.
Right.
It feels good. And to work a garden means like, I'm just going to work it. And then I like the garden aspect because you wait on the garden, like you wait on God. Like, and he's the one doing that unseen work work that you're doing. Like it's prayer to work for his kingdom, and there's unseen stuff happening.
Right.
And so I just think of this passage just made me really, it's kind of made a clear picture of how, I don't know,
Well, it's also talking about the redemption of the garden.
Right.
So that second half, it's talking about Jesus being the good shepherd. And then the second half, you see this redemption of the garden, which is, the end all, right? It's like
right.
We're back with him. But the discussion for today is also talking about, so Byron was talking about like how we get to be God's, like, we are present, right? So like if someone's going to feel God, we've talked about this much, but there needs to be, there's that. Again, I have had God speak to me of his love and his caring for me, regardless of other people being present. However, some of the most impactful moments have been other people speaking to me about God's love, or reminding me of a passage or a book I read or something where it is another person coming into my life and intervening for God, as the prophets did, right? The prophets, the kings, priests, like came in and partnered with God to do his work here on earth. And we have the opportunity to do that with other people. And in the discussion, the activity I have you guys do is to think of someone that you feel very loved and safe. Because you have to remember, like the shepherd, I think about, we have a puppy and she gets really excited to meet other dogs, but she gets a little bit nervous around people. And she does this really funny thing. Well, she'll go over and say hi. And then she comes running back and like, she doesn't jump on me like excited, but she like jumps up on my leg and almost like hugs my leg. Like she's like, one, like I did it. Like I said hi to them to let me know, but then also like, but now pick me up. That was really scary. So can you pick me up now? And that's who the shepherd is. Like when Jesus, like the reason they use the shepherd is like the shepherd was the protector. He was the safekeeper. He was the person that the sheep felt the safest with because they knew who he was for them. They knew that he was going to take them to water, to food. They could follow him safely. And that's what we have in Jesus, right? However, it can be hard for us to sense that if we've had not great experiences with love, right? We can be deeply, deeply hurt by people too. And so one of the best ways that I found to understand God better is to compare it to an earthly relationship that I feel safe in, or that I feel cared for, and I feel loved in. And so the activity for today I have to kind of get that mental connection, because we don't always have that one, right? Like the reason that I oftentimes am closed off to people is because of past experiences I've had, not usually with God,
right?
Usually with people. But I also have learned through those healthy relationships what God's love and peace and joy can look like, present, like here and now.
Right.
So one of the activities I have for you to do is for you to think about someone who you feel really safe with, or really loved by, or someone who's just a great example of that. You want to see the way they love other people, and to imagine that person's love towards you, but then transfer that to God, to then, because his love is whatever that person's love or safety that you feel towards that person, or not towards that person, but from that person, God's is far greater. Far, far greater. So this passage it's really deep. This whole chapter is pretty intense in terms of the imagery, the symbolism, the prophecy is for present, future, and then Jesus' second coming even. So it's pretty dense, but you don't need to read, just read the part here. But just thinking about that love and that safety, and what does it really mean for Jesus to be a shepherd? Like if he's called our shepherd here, why do they use that language? Like the Bible is not, it's not flippant with the words that he uses.
Oh, it's very purposeful.
Right. It's very, very intentional. So thinking about that sense of safety and love that I think that a good shepherd symbolizes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's today. Do the activity And
listen to the song.
oh yeah, listen to the song. It's really good. Don't forget that.